Have you ever wondered how an island full of visitors and tourists could suddenly transform into a scene of chaos and devastation in a matter of moments? Today, we're delving into the harrowing events of December 9th, 2019, when Whakaari, also known as White Island, unleashed a catastrophic phreatic eruption. This eruption, fueled by the intense interaction of magma and water, led to an explosive release of steam, ash, and rock, resulting in a tragic outcome. Stay tuned to discover the untold stories of survival and loss, and gain insight into the aftermath of one of New Zealand's most tragic natural disasters. Let's begin. If you don't already know, let's take a journey to a place where nature's power can be both breathtaking and terrifying. Whakaari, better known as White Island, is an active volcano on the east coast of the North Island, in the Bay of Plenty. For over 150,000 years, Whakaari has been a hub of volcanic activity, slowly building its iconic cone shape. Although it covers roughly 325 hectares, only about 30% of the volcano is above sea level, making it smaller than other cone volcanoes like Mount Ruapehu or Taranaki. Named White Island by Captain James Cook in 1769, its Maori name, Te Puia o Whakaari, translates to the dramatic volcano. In 1997, the official name was changed to Whakaari White Island. This volcano is active and made of a rock called andesite. Once home to a sulfur mining venture in 1885, tragedy struck in 1914 when a crater wall collapsed, claiming 10 lives and halting operations. Despite this, another mining attempt occurred in the 1920s, leaving behind remnants of buildings that still stand today. Whakaari has since become a focal point for tourism, science, and ecological study. But it made headlines once more following its dramatic eruption in 2019. For weeks leading up to the eruption in 2019, White Island was giving off warnings. You see, this volcano had a bit of a history. It liked to stir things up every now and then. Back in the 80s, it made quite a fuss, and in 2000, it even decided to sprout a new crater. But in the months before December 9th, 2019, it was acting up even more than usual. There were rumblings deep below, and the air was thick with sulfur, a sure sign that trouble was brewing. Despite these warnings, tourists still flocked to the island. After all, White Island Tours assured everyone that they had a handle on things. They had a safety plan in place and knew how to handle the varying alert levels. But sometimes, nature doesn't play by the rules. By November 18th, the volcano was on alert level 2, a sign that things were heating up. Then, just 2 weeks before the eruption, on November 24th, the ground shook with a magnitude 5.9 earthquake. It wasn't just any quake, it lasted a whole minute, felt by people as far away as Christchurch. Although this was supposed to be a wake-up call from the Earth itself, still, life went on, and tourists continued to visit White Island, unaware of the danger lurking beneath its surface. And then, on that fateful morning of December 9th, 2019, it happened. It was December 9th, 2019, a seemingly ordinary sunny day on Whakaari. The clock ticked to 14:11 New Zealand time, and suddenly, chaos erupted. At that moment, the volcano decided it was time to awaken, sending a towering ash plume shooting 3.7 kilometers into the sky. During the turmoil, there were souls on the island, 47 in total. Among them, 38 were passengers from the cruise ship Ovation of the Seas, eagerly exploring the island's wonders. But as the ash cloud billowed, panic ensued. Some were stranded on the island's shores, while others were waiting for rescue boats to whisk them away. Thankfully, help was not far off. Tour operators sprang into action, alongside brave vessels daring to brave the danger. These heroes managed to pluck 23 individuals from the island's grip, providing aid and comfort amidst the chaos. Water bottles, jackets, inhalers, and eye drops became lifelines in the face of disaster. But the bravery didn't end there. Offshore, a boat anchored just 200 meters away launched an emergency inflatable, swiftly rescuing 23 more souls before making a beeline for the mainland. Paramedics from the New Zealand Coast Guard awaited their arrival, ready to tend to the wounded and offer solace in the storm's aftermath. On the mainland, 3 brave helicopter pilots witnessed the eruption's horror. They rushed to help, rescuing 12 survivors despite the peril. Though they saw casualties, they focused on saving lives. Eager to return and pay respects, They were initially cautioned against it, but driven by duty and compassion, they eventually came back to offer closure to the grieving families. After the eruption, the island's alert level rose to 4, indicating extreme danger. It later dropped to 3, signaling a calmer situation. Ovation of the sea's passengers faced delays as police collected DNA samples. Despite hardships, people united to honor the lost with a moment of silence and a traditional blessing. On land, the Accident Compensation Corporation provided support, but legal questions lingered, especially for cruise ship passengers under U.S. maritime law. As the chaos settled down, the full impact of the eruption hit hard. Among the 47 people on Whakaari during the eruption were people from all corners of the globe. 24 Australians, 9 Americans, 5 New Zealanders, and others from Germany, China, Britain, and Malaysia. Many suffered severe burns, caught unaware while exploring the island in casual clothes. The news slowly unfolded. By 6:35 p.m. on December 9th, 1 death was confirmed, with fears that more were missing. Emergency crews couldn't reach the island, blanketed in ash. As days went by, the toll kept rising. By December 9th, 5 people had died, 34 were rescued, and 8 were missing. Sadly, more passed away in the hospital, bringing the death toll to 8. Recovery efforts uncovered 6 more bodies on the island, totaling 14. The number climbed to 19 as some injuries proved fatal. Recovery efforts continued. In the weeks following the eruption, the sadness deepened as families learned about the victims: 13 Australians, 3 Americans, and 2 knowledgeable New Zealand guides. January brought more sorrow as 2 more couldn't survive their injuries. The count rose to 21, then 22, with a German man losing his battle in July. Identifying the deceased was a slow process, requiring the expertise of pathologists, forensic dentists, and fingerprint officers. They worked diligently to piece together each victim's story, ensuring none were overlooked or forgotten after such a tragic event. After the eruption, survivors were badly hurt, with most suffering severe burns. Whakaari Hospital became a beacon of hope, as medical teams worked tirelessly to stabilize the injured before transferring them to other hospitals. Whakaari wasn't alone in this fight. Tauranga Hospital and Waikato Hospital in Hamilton activated their mass casualty plans, rallying resources to aid those in need. Yet, even with their combined efforts, the demand for care exceeded capacity. In the aftermath of the eruption, survivors faced critical injuries, with burns covering up to 95% of their bodies. Hospitals across New Zealand struggled to cope, while Australia rallied its resources to aid its citizens. Amidst the chaos, some remained missing, their absence haunting their loved ones. Despite rescue efforts, 2 bodies were never recovered. Memorials were erected, honoring the lives lost and the resilience of survivors. But the investigation was yet to begin. In December 2019, the New Zealand Police and WorkSafe New Zealand launched an investigation into the Whakaari eruption, probing into the circumstances that led to the disaster. On 30th November 2020, WorkSafe New Zealand filed charges against 13 parties involved in tours to the island. These included tour operators, the owners of the island, and even scientific institutions like GNS Science. Charges ranged from failing to ensure the safety of workers and others, to neglecting health and safety obligations. The legal battle continued through March 2021, as the names of the charged parties were officially revealed in court. And so, the trial kicked off on 11th of July 2023, with 6 defendants facing allegations of prioritizing profit over safety. Witness testimonies shed light on the events leading up to the eruption, with survivors and experts sharing their harrowing experiences and insights. As the trial unfolded, the Buttle brothers saw their charges dropped, but Whakaari Management Limited was found guilty. In February 2024, sentencing began, revealing the disaster's toll through victim statements. Heavy fines totaling 12 million were imposed. Civil lawsuits emerged, targeting Royal Caribbean International and tour companies for accountability and compensation, spanning across borders. A significant ruling ordered NZ 10.2 million in compensation for white Islander eruption victims' families. Judge Evangelos Thomas emphasized accountability, urging caution in Island tour operations. The judgment highlights safety lapses, stressing the importance of workplace safety laws. This was the tragic story of the Whakaari eruption, where lives were lost and people faced unimaginable challenges in the aftermath of this horrific eruption. Do you believe the outcomes of the trials are fair? What measures do you think should be taken to prevent such disasters in the future? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.